My name is Sinead. I'm the founder of TJOIA Wellness, a Christian faith-led wellbeing platform created to support you along your journey. Now, when we think about TJOIA and what it actually stands for, it's the journey of I am. And to do with well-being, you might think, okay, it's to do with self, but actually no. I am is the I am God as seen in Exodus 3 and 14. We wanted to start conversations with specialists in their fields to give you the agency that you need to maybe see your doctor or to maybe see a therapist or to maybe just check what's on your plate. you know, honest, candid conversations which meant to enrich you. Hopefully, you might laugh in some of them, and some of them you might just think, okay, I need to sit with this one and see where it goes. And that would be wonderful. Today we are joined with none other than Glynis Nathan, who is a wonderful woman, a woman of faith, but also a woman within the community. The way that this structure is going to be done is it's in two parts. The first half of this video will be around gut health in itself, and the second half of the video will be exploring how as Christians we can take ownership of the path that we're on and how these two align. When we think about faith and we think about wellness, can these two really merge? And I believe they absolutely can. Thank you for joining us. So Glynis is a registered nurse, midwife, and health visitor. She has various certifications, one of them being a counsellor with person-centered training. You have a great interest and specialism within gut health through setting up a CIC. What's your CIC called?
It's called Global Community Enablers.
Fantastic. So Global Community Enablers, where initially started aimed at the prostate. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
And as time went on and you were speaking with your clients, you then realized there's a connection here with the gut.
Correct.
And so that's led you down a path. And from what I remember, we were talking earlier about the fact that you then spoke with professionals, yes, and you found that you were what you had discovered through your journey of health and supporting these men in this CIC it was very much aligned. Is that?
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
And then it touches much wider than just the prostate.
Okay.
I went looking for something, if you want to call it some form of hope, for men to be able to work with, rather than just be told they're high risk and that's it. So I went looking to see what's credible information I could share to help them along that journey, and found that the health of the gut actually played a very significant place in a lot of illness. And that just led me to research more.
Okay, fantastic. Well, we are really happy to have you here to answer these questions. It is none other than Mental Health Awareness Month, and mental health affects so many people in so many facets of life in so many different seasons. And for us at TJOIA, it's really looking at the whole person, and even in the times where you're in the depths of despair, what can we actively do to try and be equipped with tools that will take us out of that space? Are there any contributing factors that we're doing ourselves that could, I suppose, add to what you're going through? And gut health for me is such a big thing. You know, I have PCOS. I have a number of other issues, but PCOS is one of the issues that I've had. And when I was then looking at the gut and how it affects your hormones, etc., then I understood that it's, you know, one big cycle in together. So we have questions for you that you are aware of. So of course, I've obviously said that I have PCOS, and that's what led me down the path of understanding how the human side works and then learning about gut health. But for people who hear the phrase gut health everywhere, how would you explain what it actually means in simple terms?
Okay, so I think the general thinking around gut health is that, that's where we digest food. And that is true. That is the system that handles breaking food down, which is called digesting food. The thing that people often are not aware of is that in that process of breaking the food down, there are hormones. And the hormonal system, again, similar to the digestive system, it's a complete system. I often describe it as a system in which you have, it's almost like milk bottles. One impacts the other, impacts the other. So when we eat, the food goes into the system, digestive system, to be digested. There are digestive juices that break the food down, but there are also hormonal. There are also hormones that are triggered by what's going on in the gut.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea of the gut being healthy is when there is proper digestion, i.e., it's completely broken down and it goes through its channels and it's completely emptied, and then it goes through the other parts. Having left the stomach, it goes through the intestines. And then at the end of the intestines, it's supposed to leave the body. And along the way, different hormones are triggered at different times.
Mm-hmm.
And those hormones then now have their own impact on the rest of the body.
Mm-hmm.
God just made us so spot on. When you look at it, it's like an adventure just to see the impact different things can have as it goes along its chain. You think, wow, it's a genius mind that put all this together. So I've just been really fascinated by the journey I once took for granted. When I started my training, I had to look at human biology. I had to look at digestion as all the others. And it was just like, okay, food goes in the mouth and it goes down and then it comes out.
Yeah.
Didn't hang around long enough to see in its journey what are all the other things that's happening out of the gut. You know, let me not start because
no. I'm sure we will touch on those points as we go through,
Yes.
but I really admire your passion. I think that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to get you on the podcast and to speak about it, because whenever we do speak, so we're a part of a group called Dominion Mandate, but whenever we do speak, you're so passionate about gut health and what we're placing in our bodies, so much so that there are some foods that you won't eat when we're having our breakfast.
Yes.
So it's nice to hear your passion again. So, when we talk about the gut, so of course I mentioned that it's Mental Health Awareness Month, and when we talk about the gut and the brain being connected, what are we really talking about?
Okay, so in our design there is a connection that is professionally described as the gut-brain axis. And that gut-brain axis is really where, or the channel through which the intestine, the gut, speaks to the brain, and vice versa. So when we start speaking about mental health and wellness, it's not really being introduced to us that what's going on in our intestine has really got any impact on what's going on in our brain. That's not how it's been introduced to us. But that is very much what is happening. Attempts have been made to almost bypass the natural system. And for example, you're for whatever reason you're feeling low or depressed, and the idea would be, you hear people speak about things like, oh, eat chocolate when you're feeling depressed because it lifts your mood. You hear people speak about oh, your energy is low, you need one of those drinks, a fizzy drink or a something drink, or those sorts of things. And the truth is that the body has its own pick-me-ups. So the biggest pick-me-up of all being serotonin, which is a hormone, it is created in the gut.
Really?
Yes.
Okay,
A high percentage of it is created in the gut. Now, one of the things that again amazes me about how the body works, when the body has a system that it has been created, designed to follow, if we put things into our body that mimics the same thing, the body almost says, okay, you don't need me. Says, I may as well not bother because you've got it sorted, and it will just leave you to get on with what you're doing. So it means that by putting certain things into our mouth, we're telling the body, be quiet. I've long been saying to people, when the body says, the head says, I have a headache, you say, oh, analgesia. So basically you're saying, shut up. You my foot, my hip, my what, pain, shut up. We take this thing, says, shut up. Body says, okay. Nervous system says, okay. But the nervous system, through that headache, through that pain, is trying to say to you, there is an issue happening here. You need to pay attention to it. We say, shut up. Body says, okay. Right? So without realizing it, we're actually doing harm to our body when we don't learn to understand its language. I say the body has a language, and we have not been trained to understand the language. So we ignore it, or we do things that contribute to the problem until the red flag is going crazy, and then that's called a diagnosis.
And would you say that everyone's body has its own language, or do you think there are certain traits within various types of people, various types of blood types, for instance, that might have a language?
I think both are probably true. I think pain, no matter what the blood type, is pain. And it is a warning. It's a warning because the nervous system is receiving something and it's saying, this is not good. I think inflammation in everybody's body, no matter what the blood type, again, is not good and will try to communicate its presence to us. Now, the way it communicates its presence to us might be different, but it is still trying to communicate to us that there is something going on here that you need to pay attention to. And because that thing is not dealt with soon, it then goes on to self-protect. So we may find that we're not able to do certain things. We're not able to do other things. And it's almost like the body is saying, no, I can't do that because. And until you find the because and deal with it, I can't do this other thing you're trying to get me to do. It's like that.
No, of course. That's fascinating.
So, I know, I get that.
I was like, okay, fine. And, you know, why do you think that gut health has become, I know I don't want to kind of go over and it feels like you've answered some of this already, but in terms of mental health has been around for a long time, and I suppose gut health is, I feel like it's creeping into the conversations we're seeing.
Yes,
you know, documentaries on Netflix, etc. about it. There are a lot of YouTube, but then sometimes I feel like unless you're in that space and you don't really know, but you're now seeing a lot more gut health. Of course, Keef has been on the shelves in supermarkets for a long time, but you are seeing those little gut health shots that are popping up in your, you know, Waitrose and Marks and Spencer's, etc. So why do you think that gut health has become such a big part of the mental health conversation in years? Do you think it is just because the generations are changing, so we're shouting about it more, whereas generations before just thought it was something that took place? You know, what what's been the connection?
No, I think generations before in different places and spaces had it. So different Black cultures have always known to use certain things.
What do you mean certain things?
So I grew up in Trinidad, and the population in Trinidad is heavily Indo-African, Indian African, and the normal cuisine of the Indian people includes saffron and garlic and these things. When you ask them why, it's not just about flavor. They will tell you saffron is good for this, onion is good for that, garlic is good for that. So they have known it from before. How far back in their culture, I don't know. I just know the food tastes real good. So that's my interest. So that's my interest. Only to realize that by eating or drinking certain things, there's certain health challenges that you don't face like that. So
Yeah.
you understand?
Yeah.
So it's been there, but
Mhm.
so in today's speak, I suppose I would say, it they never marketed it. They just
Mm.
lived it.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
They enforced that after the summer holidays, where we ate all sorts of fruits, so all sorts, they would say, right, school next week, come here, you need a purge. You say, oh my word, why a purge? They say, no, you've got to get all that rubbish out from you.
Mhm.
So they didn't tell us, I don't even know if they knew, that in our eating all these fruits, we've eaten a whole lot of bugs, we've eaten all sorts, because we're picking the right mango, whether it's half rotten or not, it's sweet, so we're eating it. Do you see what I mean? That was life.
Yeah.
But they knew, no, you see all that sort of rubbish, you need to get it out. Time for school, you have to be able to, and you would hear them say things like, you have to get all that rubbish out because you need to go back to school and think. So what's that got to do with anything? But again, how scientific they knew, we didn't know. If I just take that to something like as a young lady, seeing my periods and the first couple of days of periods, belly pain, who's giving me a Panadol? No, go and pick that bush. Bring 2 green and 1 yellow of that leaf. I go, what's the difference? So 3 green. And I'd go back with not what they sent me. They said, why are you so hard ears? I told you bring 3 green and 1 yellow. I'm thinking, so what? Go and get the yellow one. So I go and get it, bring it back. Then they would boil it and give it to me to drink. Disgusting, don't like it. But not long after, the period pain is gone. So the wisdom they had in all of that. You have the cold and you think you're going to not go to school. Hello, no. Go and get that garlic. Go and, now you got to drink garlic. Why did I say I wasn't feeling well? But not long after, you don't have that cold. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So they knew the properties in the different things, and so they would give us. So that's why I think it's a marketing issue. For whatever reason, we were told those things were rubbish. We should have the Panadol and the this. And this is where a lot of people, especially from different cultures, they don't want medication. They've seen, they've done that. They know these things are good.
Yeah.
So they want to do what they want to do. But you see, now this is where I can go.
That's fine, because it leads me now into a really good question. So what are some signs that someone's gut may not be functioning as well as it could?
Okay, I think one of the main things I would say is bloating. Bloating, you hear so many people, young and old, speak about bloating. Oh, why am I bloating? And so it's very common. And I think that is that and constipation. We seem to take constipation as, oh, well, people get constipated. It's like, why? Why do people get constipated? And what do you call constipation? Because people will call constipation, I haven't been to the bathroom for maybe a couple of days. It's like, hello, you didn't go yesterday, you're constipated.
Yes.
Do you see what I mean?
Yes, I am a very big, my friends sometimes call me crasp. I'm like, you need to poo.
Yeah.
You need to let it go. You're full of,
I'm telling you.
You're full of, the SHI,
Yes.
You're full of it.
Yes.
It needs to
and
leave
and
you.
it's again, it's how we have taken, how we have been educated to think about how our bodies should function.
Yeah.
It's that. So people sometimes say, oh, so you're saying it's my fault? I say, oh, please leave this word fault, because it will block you. And so you can't put things right, because you'll be thinking, oh, it's my fault, why are you doing what you do, how you do it? It's because you've learned it. You've learned it from your society. You've learned it because directly, well, this is how we cook, this is what we do. You've learned those things. So leave blame. That will just lock you into a dungeon. Just know that being able to open your bowels every couple of days is dangerous.
Yeah.
It's dangerous because you have waste sitting in you being reabsorbed. And when it is being reabsorbed, it means you have poison floating in your bloodstream. So again, please, nobody think that I'm saying that illnesses, be there cancer or anything else, is self-inflicted. But unless we get real about how certain things come about, we will never be able to rectify it. And so we just end up putting more problems on ourselves. When I have a headache, that is because I have not drank sufficient water, or I've become dehydrated in some other way, and then I go and take tablets. It's like, come on, body is saying, why are you trying to kill me? I'm trying to flag to you that I am dehydrating. So when you give me this, what am I supposed to do? My poor kidney say, oh, please don't send anything else down here. What am I going to do with this? Do you know what I mean? Our body parts are crying out because the actions we are taking is not solving the problem. It's actually making things worse.
And again, I love how you're speaking because it just flows into the next question. So what are the symptoms that people dismiss as normal that might actually be worth paying attention to? So of course we said going to the toilet, bloating,
big time.
Is
even not sleeping properly. We put it down to, oh, I didn't have a good night's rest, or I'm not sleeping so good these days, and you might be thinking of all sorts, wondering why am I not sleeping, and it could be your body saying, I can't, mate. I can't. I can't help you. You're not,
something going wrong down here.
Yes, you need to fix this so I can just relax. I can't relax, so you can't sleep. So it's all of that, because the body communicates constantly with its parts, constantly. They may not even, the body parts might not even let us into the dialogue, but it's saying, she's doing the most up here, so you know what? I can't do this anymore. You know what I mean? She calls it having a good time up there. Whatever she's doing up there, I'm in trouble down here. Nobody's coming to my rescue.
That is hilarious. It is hilarious. There's a book that I think it's here actually, The Gut, and it was talking about essentially when you are going to the toilet and how there is a communication of either someone's at the gateway. It's like, no, it's not time yet, time yet. Take your time. So it's it was hilarious. And there's a lot of photos and stuff.
I must read that, please.
Really good.
I'm telling you,
no, it's really good. Okay, so how can what is happening in the gut affect our mood, our energy, and our emotion? So we kind of touched on this, but and I don't know whether you've seen, but there's on TikTok, I know it's really bad, but on TikTok there used to be these videos, and it's animated videos of, I don't know, someone brushing your teeth. It's like, oh, you have plaque, or someone in the gut saying, oh, you keep filling me with X, Y, and Z. So is it more just because it is the chromosomes that are happening and because everything is connected that it really is just, like it's just the conversation that's taking place? So it's like, how can what is happening in the gut affect our mood and our energy and our emotion? Is it just because the gut is a part of the hormone system, or?
Okay, how can what is happening in the gut affect our mood? Like I said, we have hormones involved. So if, for example, now this is not me giving you the actual biology, so I'm just summarizing in a way that, hoping it will make sense. If what's happening in our gut is, for example, causing inflammation, then it's almost like I see inflammation as a fog. And you hear people talk about brain fog, which is like not clear thinking again, So it's like the body is struggling to function. So if it's struggling to function, it means even the clarity of thought, even the sometimes we might describe it as, I feel under the weather. I feel low in mood. But if serotonin is actually created in the stomach, then I wonder what the production of serotonin, that process, I wonder if it could speak what it would be saying. I can't give you, I know I usually give you X milliliters. I'm struggling here today because I can't. You know what I mean? So, and it might be I can't because there's a vagus nerve in the body. It's like the wandering nerve. And it's like the wandering nerve may be getting a hit somewhere that doesn't allow it to function properly. So it's like Vegas is saying to the serotonin production line, it's like, I can't help you because I'm struggling over here with this, or you know. So that's the thing. I just think God was so spot on to say, you see that human, there's certain things I will not allow to be able to happen in their conscious operation. I will put it here. It's a system by its own. It's automatic. No matter what they're getting up to, you're gonna. So the heart would beat at a certain beats, and it will do certain things regardless of what we do, because it knows that that is the rhythm and the system to keep us alive. If it was down to us,
it is fascinating.
It really is.
It is, yeah. It is
so we are very much able to control our health, very much.
So for someone who sits at their desk all day, they skip their breakfast, they drink coffee, no offense to coffee drinkers, but they drink coffee, they eat quite late. I know that, for instance, we try to change the cycle in which we eat. So by 6 or 7 o'clock, we try to shut shop. Like, what would you say that would gently encourage them, or where would you say they should start, that would gently encourage them to start, I suppose, changing the rhythm and how they eat, or changing things that might be able to benefit their guts?
I think we all have to start at a place of making a decision. I think there's just no other way. I think once we decide to accept that the things we do or don't do impact us on a serious note, once we accept that, the next question is, right, where can I start? And I say, where can I start? Because it's not easy. We are creatures of habit. So we have a whole lot of habit going on that we have to look at. And it's about deciding which habits will I just go to my grave with, or which habits will I try to do something about. And in trying to do something about it, doesn't mean it's going to necessarily be easy. Again, by disposition, some people are going to be more able to deal with certain things than others, just by the disposition. But at least we know that there are things that can be done. I mean, there are people who have walked away from cancer. There are people who have walked away from serious illnesses, not to take that flippantly, not to put it out there, oh, there's a cure for everything. No. But there are people who have done that. But if you speak to them, it has not just been, I just switched it. Oh, no, it's not that. It's a process, and you have to stay with it, and you have to do it. But I say decision because you have to decide, this, I don't want it, and I don't want it anymore, and I am like that.
No, thank you so much. And this, I feel like, touches on the question, but what's the connection between burnout and digestive health? So is it just the decision of they're just going 100 miles per hour, and actually they just need to take their time with everything?
No. Well, another thing apart from decision is, I suppose it's partly why I started my organization and why I do some of the work that I do. We can make a decision about something, and I spoke about habit, but to be able to turn that decision into something that can deal with that habit is not easy. It calls for consistency. Some people talk about discipline, and some people talk about mindset, some people talk about affirmation, all of that kind of thing. Through my work, I have found that you need somebody who understands process to be available. They may not be by your side all the time, but you need to be able to tap into that person and say, listen here, I'm about to just lose it. And that person needs to be able to say, okay, tell me where you're at, what you're doing, what's going on, and just help you to refocus or something. And for some people, it might be a therapist, different things, different people. But burnout is getting to a place where your body has said, you're going right and I'm going left.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been trying to tell you that this relationship's not working out between us, but you're not listening to me. So you keep going. Whichever direction you're going, I'm not going. I'm going the next direction. I'm done with you. This. Yes. Right. So that might be at work, it might be at home, whatever. The body just says, I don't care.
Yeah.
Wherever you're going, I'm just not going where you are going. And so we collapse with all our knowledge, all our accolades, all our expertise. We collapse in a mess, depending on where or how it's coming. We may find ourselves in a psychiatric ward. It can be so nasty. And people can tell you. Somebody recently was telling me of this person, with all the oil crisis and all of this, and somebody was telling me of somebody who's very, very wealthy. They checked into a mental health institution because they've lost it, because they've lost a whole lot of assets. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? So it can bring you to your knees because it is able to hit you in a way that you can't cope. So when you get to that place, how do you survive? Some people don't survive. Some people, they never pull back from that. The hit was just too much. And others do. And so you can say, well, was that a burnout? Was that a breakdown? What was that thing? And I think it is a case of that person, those people, not being able to be properly supported when their body went into crisis. And it didn't happen overnight. It's been happening, but you don't recognize the signs. I often say the body talks one language and we talk another. So we don't understand. Body's trying to warn us. Body's trying to tell us different things. We push that out. Tomorrow, next week, next month, when I'm finished this quota, all of this, and body's saying,
no.
Yeah. And so it gets to a place, and sometimes when people faint, they say, right, I know what to do. Body said, I know what to do with you. And a bump on the floor. Person says, oh my gosh, what's this?
He said, I told you.
I've been trying to tell you. Exactly. You won't hear. You got something else to do. Really? All right, get on with it then.
So in Jamaica, they say those who don't hear must feel.
That's right. Body knows that real good.
No.
Yeah, so that.
And so I suppose moving slightly, you spoke about this, about the fact that you grew up in Trinidad and that it's Caribbean, Indo-African as well, and the foods that they had. So what would you say now, if the first thing that someone could do, maybe 3 foods that tend to support a healthier gut?
Certainly more fluid, more water. And I say that with caution, because sometimes people say, oh, I'm dehydrated, I need to drink more water. Do I need 1 liter, 2 liters, 3 liters? Well, hold on. Water is good because we are more water in terms of the makeup of the body than anything else. But that water is not just water. It is water, it is salt, so it's not just water. So we are led again to believe, water companies doing fine, drink more and more water. But how much? If we go into a hospital and they say we are dehydrated, they don't just give us water. They put on a drip, they give us saline water, which means salt is in that water. And there are other things they put in that water. So that is dehydration, I think, is a big thing. It's almost like as crucial as being aware that the gut plays a part in every single thing. dehydration. So that is one thing I would say, and I would put it at the top of the list because it is so overlooked. It's so overlooked. We can be dehydrated in the middle of winter. We tell ourselves it's only in the summer. No. As we talk, as we breathe, we are releasing fluid.
Controversial question. Normal water or coconut water?
Oh. Well, the thing about coconut water is it has other, and let me say proper coconut water, not laboratory made coconut water, has not just got fluid.
It's like electrolytes.
It has electrolytes. So that is definitely better than tap water or bottled water.
Okay.
Right? I understand now, marketing and money makers, they find every loophole. So now they're doing, I can't remember what they call it, but they're doing water with electrolytes.
Yeah.
Right. So at least they're going in the right direction.
Yeah.
My question would be, where did you get those electrolytes? Were they made in the laboratory? So that's where I would go. But I don't want to get into that. Just as long as people.
That's fine. Yeah. So water, two other things.
Sleep.
Yeah.
Big time misunderstood. Big time. During sleep, the body says, right, you see, you've been doing the most today. Let me repair. Let me replenish. Let me restock. Let me do all of these things. We jump up and say, oh, I've got things to do. Body says, oh, because the body cannot, that machinery of repair and replenish and so cannot happen at superficial levels of sleep. The body needs to go deep before it does that. So if we don't go there, the body can't. Body says, oh, there we go, another wasted night. I ain't get much done because you decide you've got things to do. Whatever they are, be it pleasure or work or whatever, the point is I cannot do my work.
Glynis, you're making me think that the body has an attitude. The voice is a bit spicy.
I think it's very, very, very much
it's done with us.
I'm telling you. It says I'm fed up with you guys.
Funny. So funny. So one more question after this one. But probably my favorite question now, the other thing. From a faith and wellness perspective, we often talk about stewarding the body that God has given us. How do you see gut health fitting into that? Or just, how do you see, when we think about faith, one of the reasons why TJOIA means so much to me, or just faith wellness means so much to me, is, we pray, we say, God, help us with our diabetes, help us with this, help us with that. And I think, what's on your plate? I see what's on your plate, or what are you eating, what are you taking? And we're saying, God, help us, and we're praying about something. Yes, of course, Jesus can come and heal you just now. Of course he can do that. But what are you actively doing yourself that is contributing to the thing you're praying about? So let me I'm the one being interviewed here. I'm sorry.
Let me say, how do they say disclaimer? Let me say to all those who know me in church places, this is not me slagging off church. This is not me.
Yeah.
And those who know me will know, oh God, there she goes. Because this is the most difficult question.
But we need to hear it though. We need to hear it because it grieves me. It is a burden for me to, in the church, for people to truly have information and to truly assess where they are, how they're looking after their whole body, because we are stewarding. We can't live the way that God has destined for us to live. It's obviously in the world and new age, it's like a holistic world. I truly believe in a holistic approach to life. And I think sometimes because of how it is in the world, the church is like, we can't bring that in here, but you're complaining about something that God has designed us. Again, I'm not the one that's being interviewed here, but God has designed us in such a way, and yet we're not stewarding it well.
Yeah. Well, the thing that, why I say it's difficult, because people who know me, especially if anybody who's in my church, they'll say, we need to put her out, mate. Put me out, because so look, she wasn't enough for her to say it here. She's gone out there and said it. But Yeah, we don't do right by God, honestly. We just don't. God has made, we say we're wonderfully made. And God said, yes, I did, but look at what you're doing to what I made. And then you turn around and come and ask me to fix it. It's like, really? Why do we do that to God? Yeah, we don't do right. When I say our leaders, my husband says, why do you put everything on leaders? That's not fair. Because your church or faith leaders, they haven't necessarily studied these things, so they don't know. But yeah. Okay, so let me just try to bring it down.
Succinct answer.
Bring it down.
A politically correct answer.
Yeah. Church or faith settings are so taken up with our spiritual well-being that I think sometimes they sweep everything under the carpet. They want to put everything into that place. And God's act of creating us, when I say it was not a spiritual act, I mean he created spirits and angels. He could have done that, but he chose to put a physicalness to us. And that spiritualness, that physicalness has its own rules of operation. When we seek to plaster the spiritual rules on it, we are being disloyal to God and disloyal to and disrespectful of the operation. Our faith leaders have to be humble enough to allow themselves to get to a place where they say, I don't know. And I believe that God wants us to know. When we say we are fearfully and wonderfully made, we're giving props to God. He knows he's the guy. He's done it. He's wonderfully, yeah, he knows. But we mess it up. We mess it up not because we want to do bad to God's creation, but we mess it up because of lack of knowledge. And then when someone tries to tell us about lack of knowledge, too often we want to draw for the spiritual card. It's almost like God wants to say, no, you leave these cards alone. You deal with that. That's the physicalness. That's the gift I gave you to be able to be physical. Yeah. When Jesus cried out on the stake, that was a physical cry. Yeah. He was in pain, human pain. Do you see what I mean? When he bled, it was human blood, not spiritual blood. Do you see what I mean? So it's like, if he was to be rescued, somebody would have to stop the bleeding from happening. Otherwise he would die. Yeah. Right? When he resurrected, he made sure that the lungs were able to, it wasn't the spirit that kept the lungs going for the person to come back and live. So we have to be prepared to engage the anatomy and physiology of this humanness. I don't think faith groups, for whatever reason, address that properly. So that the membership, therefore, gets a loophole to not have to deal with it. And remember, we've got habit sitting there, right there. Yeah. So you don't need much when you put those two things together to have people. There's no way that church should have the highest number of diabetics. What is that? To me, that's a diss to God. Big time. That's a big diss. And when I say diabetics, I mean type 2 diabetics, not type 1 diabetics, where you've come where there's something not right with the function. Yeah. Type 2 diabetic is something that we have done. When I did my training, I did my initial training 52 years ago. And type 2 diabetics, you didn't, old people, maybe. This amount of type 2 about diabetes. Where is all that come from? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
We've become out of control with managing. We don't manage anything. And it's because society has told us, it's told us all kind of lies. Doesn't matter what size you are. It's like, what? That's a lie from the pit of hell. It does matter. It doesn't matter to feeling if you're beautiful. It matters because the body is under strain. The heart is saying, I can't.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So that's where I think there's a big problem. And the church or faith settings, they need to honor their God by being humble enough to address that.
No, I mean, this has been a great conversation. I actually look forward to listening back to it because I think you dropped so many gems, and even just the oxytocin, not oxytocin, the not oxytocin,
or the serotonin.
Serotonin. So I've learned about serotonin a number of years ago, but I didn't realize the connection in that way. Serotonin has a big job in the body.
Yes.
So yeah, I didn't realize it was in that way. So this is the last question now, and I just thank you so much for coming on. Thank you. Like I look forward to listening back to this and just taking it all in, writing notes, and I'm sure that whoever is watching as well, they'll hopefully taken notes, but will be armed with information, and then they can go on and do their own journey in whichever capacity, whichever levels. Some people might just watch another video, some people might read books. I hope and my prayer is that this conversation will change at least one person's life, and they will reflect on their bodies. And someone who is dealing potentially with mental health, or perhaps goes through different seasons of mental health, they can think, okay, so during this time or coming up to this time when I know that perhaps this period of the year I feel a bit down, let me make sure that physically I'm edifying my body with good foods so that perhaps it isn't as bad. And as I'm praying to God and you can see the steps I'm doing, this might be the year that actually I don't get the come down or I don't feel down. Actually, this is the year of breakthrough in Jesus' mighty name. So
and movement, sitting, because the lowness of mood and so can make you feel such that you don't want, but it's to push. And that's why I say, somebody who come and say, no, come with, let's just, all right, we won't do 2 blocks today, we'll just do 1, just to get you to be able to get the person to move. But it needs another person in the picture. I spoke to a consultant a few days ago who is a consultant. His speciality is the gut. And I said to him, I've come to realize in some of the research I've been doing that there is that link between the gut and mental health and wellness. I said, but do you think it actually plays any part at all in psychiatric conditions? And he, within a second, said, of course it does. I said, are you serious? He said, yes.
Yes.
He said, yes. I said, what, you mean like bipolar, schizophrenia, and those big boys? He said, yes. Now, I was really thankful because I have found that in a brand that I have chosen to recommend to people as I work with them. And I couldn't believe it initially when it was reported back to me. I said, I was asking, are you sure? I couldn't believe it. I thought, what? All this set of drugs that people, and really? And here was somebody not in marketing, not in nothing like that, working on, let me say, the other end, because he's a surgeon.
Yeah.
And he is saying, they being he and his colleagues, they have been looking at the impact of different chemicals on the gut. He said, without a shadow of doubt.
Wow.
I just thought, wow.
Wow.
That is huge.
Wow. You need to share his number, his details with me. We need to do this behind the scenes. Okay, so final thing. So TJOIA is about, living in faith and thriving in wellness. If there's anything that you can leave, one word of advice, or maybe a sentence, whatever it might be, for someone who's watching in terms of, what it is to live in faith and thrive in wellness, what would it be?
So to live in faith is to believe for me. To thrive in wellness is you're then able to be the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
To be the
Who
best
God has
version of
called you to
yourself.
be.
Yeah.
Amen. Eric Dawn, thank you so much. Thank you. This was
Oh my
amazing. This
goodness.
is all falling over everywhere. Thank you so much for staying with us to the end of this conversation. We hope that you truly enjoyed listening to Glynis and I talk about gut health and mental well-being. If you go on to part 2, you'll hear more questions, just going a bit more into, as believers, how can we really take ownership of our journeys and what does it look like? It does touch on grief, so warning, but it's an equally beautiful conversation that I hope that you will find enriching. Thank you.